May I ask you, you said a moment ago that no American president has ever constrained Israel in a meaningful way. I think
in the modern period, certainly.
George H.W. Bush
yes.
kind of tried, and there was talk of an assassination attempt against him, and he lost, of course, after one term. But why do you think that is? Why is a country of 9 million people able to dictate terms to a country of 350 million people?
Well, first of all, there's no legitimate reason for that. In other words, there's no intrinsic U.S. interest in any way, whether it's military or security or economic, for this to be the case. There's no moral reason for this to be the case. In other words, one could support Israel without supporting Israel's reckless extremism and militarism and all its wars. And so there's no reason for the United States government to have given a blank check, actually handed our military and our intelligence over to Israel to tell us what to do. There's no legitimate reason for this. The question why this is the case is, of course, I think to all of us, even no matter how much on the inside we are or how many decades we've watched this, a bit of a mystery.
Yes.
And because I've seen this close up for more than 50 years. And if you ask me, am I really sure why Netanyahu, who is a absolutely disgusting warmonger, who has dragged us into terrible wars, who is committing massive war crimes, why he gets 57 standing ovations in the U.S. Congress. If you ask me in my heart, do I really understand that? Is it the AIPAC lobby, the Israel lobby? Well, partly. Is it blackmail by Israel? Because there's no doubt a lot of credible claims of Epstein and more about blackmail. Is it that? Is it direct bribes? Is it fear of American politicians? Is it the mainstream media, which for a lot of reasons owned by a lot of billionaires that tend to be rather ardent Zionists? Is it the large Christian Zionist vote base, which is also a real thing? To tell you the truth, none of it really adds up.
I agree.
In full, because this is not in America's interest. It's not in America's interest to be isolated in the world together with a murderous rogue state, which is, sad to say, what the Israeli government has become. It is the most lawless state in the whole world right now. It's committing massive war crimes. It is, as Netanyahu said, at war in 7 fronts. If you're at war in 7 fronts, that's pretty weird. That shows you don't have diplomacy. You have war as a policy. And of course, Netanyahu does have war as a policy. And, you know, Tucker, I am at the UN a lot, so I am in the UN Security Council a lot, listening or participating in UN sessions. And the UN, the Israeli politicians come and they yell at the whole rest of the world. And they yell at them in the most vulgar, stupid, puerile, and absolutely imbalanced and irrational way. And then the U.S. representative says, yes, we are with Israel. So if you ask me why this is fundamentally, first, it's disgusting. Second, it is no rational basis. And third, if it is the money, the lobbying, the mass media propaganda, the really strange beliefs of some people, whatever it is, even all of that, for my mind, doesn't add up, because a president of the United States should be able to figure this out a little bit better, that this is absolutely not in America's interest, and we do not have a military that is to be handed out to another country to do whatever reckless things that country is doing. And right now, Israel is not only doing reckless things, it is committing a genocide. And that is not my opinion. That is the opinion pervasively of both scholars and specialists in this matter, and in Israeli human rights organizations, in countless observers inside Israel and observers all over the world. So the U.S. is actually, and I'm sorry to say it, complicit in genocide right now.
Of course.
A president should be able to figure this out. And they don't. And so when you ask me this question, I can give you a list of answers, but somehow it doesn't add up for me, because this is not so hard to figure out that we are on a terribly wrong track.
I agree with you completely. I've thought about it a lot, and you don't have to hate Israel, which I don't, to ask like why the serial humiliation rituals, and no one ever says, basta, ever. And I do think people perceive a deep threat. Well, I know that that's true. I wonder if the attack on Doha, on Qatar, and in general, the kind of nonstop effort to malign Qatar is the most important player in U.S. politics. It's also deranged. It's all projection. But I wonder if bombing a close U.S. ally, kind of critical U.S. ally in that region, Qatar is a critical U.S. ally, just to be clear, I wonder if that was like too much. I wonder if that was the beginning of the end for Bibi.
I have to say, there's been a lot that should have been the beginning of the end, going back 30 years, going back to the Iraq War, and even before that. Starving a population in Gaza, as Israel is doing right now, should have been enough, even without the bombing of Qatar. But yes, Qatar was an extraordinary event. Israel says, we don't have to obey any laws anywhere. We will go anywhere. We will murder anyone. It's a murder operation, Mossad especially, but also this was the Israeli military in this case. They, and interestingly, what were they trying to do, according to them in Qatar? They were trying to murder the negotiators of Hamas who were considering a ceasefire proposal. Now, I find it pretty strange that you murder your counterpart negotiators as they're considering a proposal. But this is actually normal behavior of the Israeli government. They have done this repeatedly now, that they murder precisely those who are negotiating. And the United States has been party to this. That's really awful and dangerous and absurd.
Something amazing is happening in the U.S. after years of national rejection of faith. Remember the new atheists? Long gone, because a revival is underway. Millions of Americans are rediscovering what our culture tried so hard to hide, which is the ultimate power of the universe, the power of prayer. This is taking place at the right moment. Times like these require truth speaking, preaching of the gospel, which is the truth, and boldness in the face of struggle. When evil emerges, as it did in September, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, people wake up and they find God, because that is the only answer. You need prayer. And you know you do, by the way. The Hallow app makes it easy. You find scripture, meditations, reflections, guided prayers, Whether you pray constantly or just getting started, aren't really sure what prayer is, but feel like you should be doing it because you should, there is something for you, something real and something eternal. Trust me, this is a never-ending topic of conversation in my house, including today. Hallow and the power of prayer that Hallow unleashes. Instead of wasting time scrolling through social media, Hallow lets you begin and end your day connecting with God, which is really all that matters, and it reminds you of that. Joins the millions of Americans who are discovering the peace, the only real peace and clarity that prayer can bring. Hallow, download it today, Hallow. It's free to try. It may be the most important decision you make this year. Get 3 months free at hallow.com/Tucker. And if it doesn't change your life, I'll be shocked. I mean that. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.